Thank you for listening to the Weeknight Mysteries podcast. My name is Yuras. I am here with my co-host Rain. How are you, Rain?
I'm all good as always. Hello, everyone. And we're sorry that this is a little bit late this week.
Definitely, because we are recording on Wednesday. No, Thursday.
Thursday, yeah.
So this was supposed to come out yesterday. Well, busy times.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It was because of me, but we'll do our best to try to push out more regularly, I would say.
Yeah, no worries. It's just a 1 day delay. Let's put it that way. Today, we are going to be talking about a case that Rain found because I asked Rain specifically to find some interesting true crime topics or mysteries for us to talk about on the podcast. And Rain found something really interesting, something I have not seen before. Somehow I have completely missed the Annie Borjesson death case. It's an interesting case. Let me walk everyone through the basic details of the strange topic that we're going to be trying to investigate today. And right after that, we could kind of go through the theories and through the interesting details. Let's talk about Annie, who she was. She was a 30-year-old Swedish woman. She was multilingual. I believe she spoke 6 languages.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I also read that one of those 6 languages was Hungarian because her father was from Hungary.
And I've heard that Hungarian is one of the more difficult languages in Europe. So that's impressive.
That's very impressive, yeah.
She was described as a lively woman. She was working in Edinburgh, the capital of Scotland, since 2004. She planned to return to Sweden for Christmas in 2005. She had her rent paid for 1 month in advance. She also had booked a hair appointment in Sweden. She had a hairdresser, as I heard, whom she trusted very much. So she didn't want to get a haircut in Scotland. And she also was about to bring some library books that were due to be returned to Sweden. So by all accounts, she had full intentions to make her way to Sweden in 2005 for Christmas. 2 days before her trip back home to Sweden, Annie called her family from a public payphone. It was bizarre. She said that she believed somebody was listening to her calls. And she asked her family not to contact her on her mobile phone. She also mentioned something vague about computers and web pages, so some strange talk. Her family was baffled because Annie never talked about this type of stuff before. On the day when her body was found, Annie had traveled in the morning from Edinburgh to Prestwick Airport. CCTV in Prestwick Airport showed her arriving. She appeared relaxed and her manner of doing things was unhurried. But within minutes, her demeanor changed. She exited to the car park for 3 minutes. What happened there remains a mystery because afterwards she came back into the airport, but now she looked distressed. Moments later, she left again, and she has never been seen again. Later that same afternoon, there were 2 unconfirmed sightings. There was a blurry CCTV image of a woman resembling Annie, and another person who was standing silently on the beach edge in Prestwick as the daylight faded. There were 2 guys that were kind of walking by and they remember a figure. Later on, they came to police and said they believed that could have been Annie. The next morning, Annie's body was discovered face down in the sand near the seawall on that same beach. Her bag and coat were neatly placed nearby. her cause of death was ruled drowning, but there were strange details that had emerged after her death. Things like her red fleece shirt, which she is clearly seen wearing on the CCTV, was now missing. Her hair appeared to be hacked unevenly, despite being long the day before, because we do have CCTV footage and her hair looks long, especially from certain angles. But when her body was found, her hair appeared to be hacked, which is bizarre. There was also bruises and finger marks that were observed on her body by undertakers in Sweden, but the Scottish autopsy experts did not mention them in their evaluation. Diatom tests, which prove DNA particles, whether they were from a freshwater or a saltwater origin, showed that the seawater that the water that drowned Annie could have came not from seawater at Prestwick, but it could have been from a freshwater source. On top
Wait,
of that,
what?
yeah, we're gonna get into all of this.
Okay.
On top of that, in the 4 days before her death, no calls were logged on her phone. But there was an incident where Annie's friend specifically remembered hearing Annie speak to her mother 2 days before she was dead. So how did police records show no signs of phone calls taking place when she clearly spoke to her mother just 2 days before she died? On top of that, the discussion was bizarre because this friend reported that Annie said to her mother, quote, "Mom, you have to trust me on this one. I have to sort this out on my own." Kind of bizarre topics. Adding to the mystery, Annie's emails were missing. She had no more emails in her email provider, and her friend in Sweden received silent phone calls after Annie was found dead. And the friend in Sweden started receiving those silent phone calls after that friend started to suggest a potential, believe it or not, CIA connection. And we'll be talking about that in a bit. So what actually happened to Annie? Did she take her own life, despite clear signs that she was making future plans? Or did someone lure her to Prestwick Airport and then murdered her? Maybe she was a victim of a mistaken identity tied to the CIA. It's a strange one. But we're gonna be talking about all of this. Tell me, how did you find this case?
Oh, it's just really random. I was on Instagram and I was just scrolling and I saw this very short reel about it. I thought it was terrifying, really, and I thought it was mysterious enough for us to talk about. Like, there seems to be some topics to discuss about it. It's not just like, it's not very straightforward, let's put it that way.
How did this Instagram reel, like, what was the description of Annie's case? Like,
It was just a very short caption about it, and it's not even like indicating if she did it herself or someone did it to her. It's more of like, some people believe it was self-harm, some people believe it's not. Up until now, the case remains unsolved, and that's pretty much it. And there was a short video that's kind of like slideshow of the pictures, and I thought it was really spooky. It gives me that I can't remember the case name. The person who in Varna.
Lars Mittank?
Yeah, somehow kind of gives me a little bit of a same vibe, same mysterious vibe.
Yeah, to be honest, this is the only other case, other than Lars Mittank, that I could think of, where a person goes to the airport, starts acting oddly inside of an airport, and then they leave never to be seen again. I guess the only difference between this case and Lars Smetank is that
She was found.
Yeah, it's still a mystery what happened to Lars. Speaking about Lars' case, I know we're going a little bit off topic here, but there is a possibility for us, because we're in close proximity to Bulgaria,
Oh, that would be so nice. Like,
to fly and like maybe research Lars Smetank's case. I do think that
go to the airport.
I do think the only way we will talk about Lars Smetank case, because it's like this globally big international mystery that everybody knows about.
Yeah, and it's in our list.
If it's in our list, and if we ever talk about it, it has to be with some real
Footage.
on the ground digging, and maybe that's when we hit like a certain milestone of like subscriptions.
We can start doing that, honestly.
Let's say 5K subscribers on YouTube or something like that. Maybe that's the goal. We get 5K and we go to Bulgaria and we try to find out what happened to Lars. I have a pretty interesting theory about that case, but today we have a different topic. We have Annie Borjesson's case. Let's start at the very beginning and let's walk through what we have here.
One day we could also try going to Scotland to figure it out.
Oh, man.
One day, if we ever grow big enough, we could start doing that.
Scotland is a beautiful country.
Or like going to the places where, unfortunately, the cases that we talk about happened. We could focus on Europe first, of course. Anyways, going back to this really sad case.
Let's go for it. Annie started working at the Whiskey Heritage Center in February of 2005. So I believe that she already was in Scotland by 2004. I don't know exactly if she did any jobs before she got this job at the...
I don't think so. I read an article that says she was just there for a short time. She went back to Scotland and then went back there again.
Yeah, sounds about right. She started working in Whiskey Heritage Center. It's some sort of a museum about whiskeys, like Scotch whiskeys. She worked there for, I believe, 6 months until August of that same year. She made a brief visit home to Sweden, and then she returned one more time to Edinburgh. And this time, she had full intentions of finding a more permanent work position. Annie met Kat Dalmo. Kat was another girl who worked at the Whiskey Heritage Center. The two of them became friends, and Kat described Annie as a loving and lively girl. We do have some pictures here. I'm not really sure if you see those images there. I will just say what I think first. To me, Annie looks very Swedish. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. She does look like a very Swedish woman. Like
She looks like a colleague of mine. I don't know.
So what do you think? What do you think? You said the colleague of yours looks like Annie?
Yeah. But basically, for our listeners, she has this, as you just mentioned, big blonde hair. And then she had, what is this, green or blue eyes? Somewhere in between, maybe.
Yeah, I can't say from the images.
Yeah, I do understand what you mean. And she looked very kind, to be honest.
Yeah, the Whiskey Heritage Hotel also, museum, kind of looks like an interesting place.
It looks like you would go here and you would have fun.
I knew you were gonna say that. At some point, Annie told one of her friends, I believe it was Kat, that she met Martin Leslie at the nightclub Mood in Edinburgh. Now, Martin Leslie is a professional rugby player. He played 37 times for Scotland, so he's a very famous Scottish rugby player. and the two of them had fun at the club. Sometime later, after some time, she was weirded out by Martin's behavior because as she went to the rugby stadium in Edinburgh, to the club, she kind of walked past Martin Leslie, and this time he didn't even say hi to her, but gave her this really mean look, like this mean grin on her face, and that really weirded her out. Now, the biggest thing about this whole ordeal is that she actually never met Martin Leslie, because the real Martin Leslie was in New Zealand, across the world, playing rugby. So she must have met a man at the nightclub who pretended to be Martin Leslie.
And probably looked like him.
Have you heard about this detail?
Very interesting. Completely missed this one.
The man, this fake Martin Leslie, he has never been tracked down, and when the real Martin Leslie was asked about Annie, he said he had never seen that woman before in his life.
Okay, so far it just sounded like a regular situation wherein you met someone, you had a good time, and then you guys act like strangers afterwards, you know what I mean?
And then this fake Martin Leslie showed up to the real rugby stadium.
And of course, he had never met her before.
No. The fake Martin Leslie walked past. No, I think you misunderstood.
Okay.
Hear me out. Annie met fake Martin Leslie at nightclub, and then she met that same fake Martin Leslie at the stadium.
Oh,
So
it wasn't the real one.
The real one was on the other.
Never there.
Was never in Scotland during this time.
How small is this place?
So that fake Martin Leslie was showing up. Also, according to Annie, she told one of her friends that this fake Martin Leslie completely unannounced appeared in her swimming pool because she was taking like swimming classes or like she was swimming as an exercise.
Okay, that's very creepy.
So there was this fake Martin Leslie who police have never tracked down, ever. Things are getting crazy.
Yeah, this one's really creepy. I kind of would understand it if it was like a small town, but this is a city we're talking about.
I tried digging into the nightclub a little bit more. So this nightclub Mood, this nightclub is already closed, but while it was operational, it had a pretty dodgy reputation. Apparently not the most, let's put it this way, straightforward people went there. Like, I think that it has some sort of a shady people hanging out. And there's even an article that locals recall dodgy Edinburgh nightclub where fights broke out almost every weekend. So it's a rowdy club, and who knows who was going to this nightclub. And apparently fake Martin Leslie met Annie there. Interesting. 2 days before Annie was set to fly back home, this was early December. I believe this particular day that we're talking about right now could be even December 1st. Annie called her mother from a public payphone, and this was some distance away from her home. Annie told her mother that someone was listening to her phone calls, and she asked them not to call her on her mobile phone. She was also asking something about computers and web pages. What do you make of this? This is given the fake Martin Leslie incident and then this bizarre account.
It's really creepy. And
First, sorry for interrupting. I just really wanted to ask, what kind of a scenario? How would you even find out that your phone calls are that someone's tapping into your phone calls?
I have no idea. Like, seriously, no idea at all.
it's like unexplainable.
But then again, is it paranoia or did it really happen?
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, it's just for us, we'll never know the answer. Maybe, is there a possibility that maybe she's been seeing this fake Martin so much that she kinda,
Started getting paranoid
yeah,
that he might be following her, might
like
be
tapping
listening
her
to her.
phones, yep.
Because she went outside of her apartment and she was making phone calls from outside of her apartment 2 days before she was set to fly back home. I mean, that to me just sounds like craziness is starting to take a hold.
What do you mean, why?
I feel like this is crazy behavior by Annie.
How come?
If you feel like someone's listening to your phone calls, do you call your mom or do you go to the authorities?
Authority. Oh, yeah, I get it now.
You know?
Authorities, yep.
So who is listening to her phone calls?
And was there actually someone listening in?
On Saturday, the 3rd of December, this is the day when Annie was supposed to be back in Sweden. We assume that she took the train from Edinburgh to Glasgow, Glasgow being another big city in Scotland. And from Glasgow, it's assumed that she took another train to Prestwick, because the airport that she was flying is actually on the other side of Scotland from Edinburgh. I think it's maybe like an hour or maybe 2 hour commute to get to there. It's, I think, one of their, not the biggest airport in Scotland, but it's still a pretty legitimate, like a proper airport. It has everything there. We know that at around 2:15 p.m. on that day, Annie tried and then she failed to withdraw £100 from the ATM in Glasgow, and the reason was insufficient funds. And then she tried for £50 and it also failed. At this time, she had not yet booked her flight home. So when she was about to fly back home on the 3rd of December, she was intending to buy the plane ticket in the airport. That's so strange. Because, nowadays, if we're flying out somewhere, we know about it days in advance, like months in advance sometimes. Like you never walk into the airport and you just book up and you just buy a plane ticket.
I wonder how they used to buy plane tickets back then. I remember my mom would go to the ticket booth or store or like travel agency days or like months in advance to purchase the tickets, not like right away.
Yeah.
Not like a bus.
Yeah, but apparently Annie was treating this as a bus and she had her stuff with her. So it looks like she really wanted to go.
But it sounded like, right now it sounds like it was not, she wasn't planning it. I can't remember the word for the life of me. Like it was a decision.
Spontaneous?
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. I don't know.
What do you think?
I don't know. I don't know if she had told her parents exactly on which day she's coming back to Sweden. But this was never mentioned.
Because what if there are no vacant seats anymore in the airplane?
That's a good point. Because,
It's
nowadays...
super risky.
Nowadays, when you fly, at least here, the plane is packed.
Yes.
Like you usually don't even see a single free spot. So I don't know how that works. At before continuing, she also didn't even have £50 in her ATM. What's strange to me is that she is attempting to take out this money and she doesn't even know how much money is in the ATM.
How old was she?
30.
Oh. Interesting.
And I just assume it's Annie who's trying to take out the money from the ATM. At 3:14 p.m., so this is roughly 1 hour after the failed attempt to take out money from the ATM, Annie was captured on camera on CCTV walking into the airport. She was she appeared unhurried and relaxed. We have the first image of her walking there. 2 minutes later, she left the airport through an exit which leads to the car parking. So it's interesting. She goes into the airport, I don't know why she spends like 2 minutes there, but she exits and goes to the exit, which leads to the car parking. I believe this is the main entrance of the airport, so nothing bizarre about the exit specifically. 3 minutes afterwards, she is again entering the airport. This time, she looks like she is frowning and is acting oddly. I don't know how exactly we know that she was acting oddly, because I don't know if there were any witnesses in the airport who reported this, but even by looking at the CCTV, I could already tell, and you could probably also tell, that she already kind of looks like rushy, like agitated, even from that one camera still.
Yeah, actually, from this picture, it kind of seemed like maybe she saw someone and she panicked.
Oh, so you think it could be that she saw someone in the parking, and she came back panicking, and she came back into the airport panicking?
Yeah, from the looks of it. What do you think?
I mean, I don't know what to think, honestly. We don't know what happened in the parking lot during those 3 minutes, and maybe something strange happened that we don't know about. But then after she returned to the airport for the second time, she spent 6 minutes in the airport, and then she was gone again. And that was the last confirmed sighting of Annie. I do have an image here of how the exit of the airport looks like. To me, it looks like the most standard airport exit of all time, like car parking right next to the entrance. Yeah.
It looks like the most boring place ever.
Yeah, it just looks like a very like utility location.
I don't even know how to describe it. It's just a regular parking.
Yeah, so I don't know what you would see there that would spook you out.
Fake Martin? By the car park?
Maybe fake Martin Leslie. Okay, that's interesting. I never thought about that. There was another alleged sighting. This was never confirmed, but there was an alleged sighting on CCTV at 4:05 p.m. So this is, let's put it this way, this is approximately 1 hour later after this whole airport shenanigans. Annie was once again captured on CCTV. Oh, sorry, not Annie. What am I saying? It's not confirmed that Annie was picked up, but to me it looks so kind of obvious that this is Annie.
This is her, for
I
sure.
mean, look at
the hair, the outfit. She was wearing like a red t-shirt, and from
Blue
the
coat.
CCTV camera, she was wearing the same thing, same bag,
Same hair.
seems like the same manner walking.
I don't know how they never confirmed this one, because to me this looks like, unless I mixed up the footage, CCTV, but to me this looks like it's definitely Annie. Anyways, let's put.
She's smoking though, it seems like, or maybe,
She does look like she's smoking.
or she was, or whoever this person is was chewing fingernails or smoking.
To me it looks like she's smoking.
And do we have any confirmation if Annie was a smoker?
I never heard about it. A second possible sighting happened as the daylight started to fade, and I had to Google when exactly the daylight would fade at this time in Scotland, and it would be almost fully dark by 4:20, 4:30 in December. So kind of similar to Lithuania, I guess, by 4
Yeah.
it's kind of dark. So I think if this was Annie on this second sighting that I'm about to tell you, then Annie would have ended up in this other location maybe like 20 minutes later from when she was last seen. And it was basically the beach. Two men were walking and they saw a figure standing completely alone at Prestwick beach. And this one man remembers seeing this figure only. The only reason why they even remember seeing this figure is because there was no one around. So I guess the scene was kind of like eye-catching, this lone woman or figure, because this man later said he doesn't even know if it's a man or a woman. It was just a figure, kind of like standing close to the water at the beach, completely alone as the sun is kind of setting.
I mean, with the coats and probably with a hood on, it's really hard to tell.
Yeah, you could kind of mistake it because Annie's coat was really thick. It was like a thick winter jacket, you would even say. You know what I mean? Then the next morning came. 8:23 a.m. Annie's body was discovered by a dog walker at that same beach. She was face down in the sand near the sea wall with her bag and her coat close to her body. Police took her body out of the beach ASAP, and they may have missed vital clues because I assume that they immediately treated her as a non-suspicious death, which I find very strange. I find strange that they took her body out of the beach ASAP. Think about it. Prestwick is not that big. It's not a big city. It's, just a smaller city, let's put it that way. If you see a dead person face down on the beach with their belongings close by, do you take them out of the water do you take them out of the beach ASAP? I mean, you do try to do some sort of criminality analysis, right? I mean, maybe the police did. I'm not gonna say they never did. I just came across information that her body was moved from the beach quickly, which is very strange.
Maybe they were hoping that they could still revive her. Maybe it wasn't so obvious that she was already not with us.
I believe they knew.
And I
believe it was obvious because she was found by a man. She wasn't moving, and then that man called police and she still wasn't moving.
Oh, so it's been a long time, yeah.
I think they knew that she was dead.
But then again, maybe this is just a small town police force, Maybe they haven't handled a case this grave before and they don't know how to act accordingly.
Yeah, that could be the case. I'm not gonna lie. That sounds like it's a possibility.
Yeah, I'm not gonna hold it against them. I'm just saying, maybe there's a possibility that they just... I wouldn't even say incompetent. I would just say clueless on how to handle a situation such as that.
Still, if I'm like a police officer and I've never dealt with it, I just don't think I would just immediately start.
I mean, as a person who's not an officer, you would...
I would call for backup.
Yeah, or you wouldn't touch anything. And as someone who actually had training...
But it's strange.
It's very strange.
Her cause of death was determined to be drowning. And 12 days after her death, she was transported, her body was transported back to Sweden. And this is where the strange details started coming out. Because the undertaker in Sweden, the person who would prepare the dead person for the funeral, right? That's what the undertaker does, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, because I wasn't sure.
I never heard of this word used in that sense.
You only know the WWE
yeah,
Undertaker?
when you said Undertaker, that was the first thing in my head.
Oh, no. Undertaker is a real profession. And...
Wait, let me Google it really quickly.
Yeah. So... As Rain is Googling what is the meaning of the Undertaker, the strange detail that came out was that this Swedish Undertaker, they saw... Okay, I think you found it.
Yes, you were right. It is a person whose business is preparing dead bodies for burial or cremation and making arrangements for funerals.
So the Swedish Undertaker, not the American WWE Undertaker,
yeah,
had evaluated Annie's body. And they noticed that there was 2 marks and bruises on her body, like someone had physically hit Annie. Bruising was also corroborated by an interim expert who had also examined Annie's body in London, because apparently while Annie's body was being transported from Scotland to Sweden, it also had made a stop in London. And the examiner in London also saw that bruising. So, what do you make about it? What do you think about Scottish experts missing this vital detail in this case?
I don't know. I can't defend them on this one. It could be just like pure incompetency, or I don't know, they just ignored it for some weird reason. Am I considering a possibility of a cover up? We're considering possibilities of everything, so I would say yeah.
Cover up?
Like maybe someone from police force did her dirty.
And the autopsy expert covered it up?
Something, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. We're just throwing assumptions here and there, but maybe there's also a possibility that it was she had it before, or she jumped.
You know,
and
that's
acquired it.
that's interesting. If she had it or not yet. Now that's interesting.
Yeah, because is it like a fresh kind of bruise, or were there like did she have it? Did she have them
I think
a couple of days before, or before she passed away?
actually, the more I'm thinking about it, that sounds irrelevant, because the most important thing is, why did the Scottish autopsy people never reported it? Like, it doesn't matter if it's connected to her death or not. That should be on the
That's true.
documents. And the only thing I found online is that there's a theory circulating that maybe police already, and I think this was proven, that police already announced Annie's death as drowning. So when the body was, showed to the autopsy expert, maybe they were already going into it expecting to see a drowning victim, but then it seems like by the Swedish undertaker, the damage and the trauma to the body was quite intense. So I do not know how you would just miss that.
What do you say? Do you think it's intentionally missed or unintentionally missed?
I was going into this case researching. I'm thinking that it's like unintentionally missed.
Like somehow they thought it was just drowning and they missed it completely.
Yeah, I'm thinking that the autopsy experts, that they were not actively hiding something. I think they just maybe
They thought it was drowning.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Annie's family, when they looked at her body, they also had seen that her hair was not the same. Her hair was hacked, and there were clumps measuring between 5 to 16 centimeters. And we can see from the airport footage, from the CCTV, that she had a full set of hair, at least from the footage.
Yeah, from the pictures, it seemed like she had really long hair, and I'm talking about below the waist, maybe, even below her like butt. Because from the pictures, you could see that she kind of tied it in a halfway tied up manner.
Yeah, by the looks of it, it looks like it has this really big ponytail.
And what if she just let it loose? It seemed like it's longer. You know what I mean? And how short was her hair when they found her body?
So I think it was chopped, like at some areas.
But not fully, like, above the shoulder, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't too obvious.
I don't know, honestly. I don't understand this information. I just can say that it was chopped, hacked, and there were clumps. I don't know what that means.
Now I'm thinking, I was supposed to ask that maybe she tried to cut her own hair before going back to Scotland.
That's another,
But then again, we have the
possibility.
pictures.
Yeah, but it's all tied up. Like, even if you cut your own hair and you do a bad job, if you tie it up like that, wouldn't it kind of be hard to tell that it's like a bad haircut?
That's true, but then
She apparently had the haircut booked already for Sweden.
Yeah, so why would she cut her own hair? And from the information that we have, she's kind of very picky about her haircut, no?
Yeah, like who gets to cut her hair?
Yeah, from what I know, she didn't even try to have a haircut in Scotland. It's just reserved for her hairstylist in Sweden.
Mm-hmm.
So why would she do it to herself?
Well, we don't know, obviously.
True.
But this is the next piece of information is the one that kind of has like no explanation in my opinion, and I don't even know what to make of it. The red fleece shirt has never been recovered. So now take a look at that CCTV footage, and I don't understand how her body was found, but the red fleece shirt. Okay, I have another question. Okay, let me just tell me when you get to the image. No, not here. This is not even the real crime scene. Sorry for that.
Okay.
Can you show me what you're... No, even go below that. Go. Yes, exactly, this one. So I want you to look at this picture.
Oh, she's wearing so many layers.
Yes, I was going to ask you, do you think that this is... Do you see the red color? Do you think that there are two red clothing items there, or is it
Yes,
one?
I think it's two.
So you think there's a red
One
shirt,
is a shirt.
one is a jacket, and then the big winter jacket on top.
Yeah, it's a lot of layers though.
Which one of these two red layers do you think is the red fleece?
The second one, the jacket.
Okay, now that makes a little bit more sense to me, because at first I was thinking her t-shirt was missing.
So she was found naked then.
She basically would be naked, but no, okay, so her fleece is missing. Still strange, but I guess not as strange as I initially assumed. What do you think about it? What could that mean?
It was never found anywhere.
It was never recovered. Kind of. What? How? Where did you put it?
She went for a swim. It got taken away by the waves. But then again, why would you go out for a swim in that kind of weather? Intentionally.
Yeah, I don't think that... I find it hard to believe that was the way it kind of got lost. I have no idea how to explain it.
Because it was never found anywhere else, right?
It was never recovered. Yeah. Strange.
And wait, when they found her body, the jacket was still on.
Yeah, I think so. So she had, I think, the t-shirt and the jacket, but the middle layer, the kind of like the lighter jacket, the fleece one, it was never found.
That's so interesting. You know, it would make way more sense if the thicker jacket went missing.
Yeah.
But it's like, if her fleece was missing, that means she took off the thicker jacket, took off the fleece, and then put the thicker jacket back on.
That's what it sounds like,
Oh jeez, I'm so sorry. I didn't know this case is way more complicated than I thought.
It's even gonna get more complicated. Because phone records show that she made no phone calls in the 4 days leading up to her death, which can't be true because Annie's friend Kat, the same Kat that she met while she was working at the Whiskey Heritage Center, she said that she saw Annie have a phone call with her mother, and we all know that she said, "Mom, you have to trust me on this one. I have to sort this one out on my own." And I have one very interesting question to you right now. Is this Kat from the Whiskey Heritage Center, does she speak Swedish? Or did Annie started talking to her mother in English?
That's a very good question, because there's no way. I'm thinking about it. Will you talk to your mother in English or Lithuanian?
Lithuanian.
Because that's the most natural for you. So how would...
It was never explained. It's just that apparently this cat person, and maybe she knew Swedish. I mean, that's the only explanation I would have. But
Oh, come on. Swedish is not an easy language to learn. It's not like Italian that you would understand like a couple of words here and there.
Yeah.
Maybe it was translated after.
It could be. Yeah. Could
Yeah,
be.
as a story.
Could be.
I think so.
But why is the phone records... Okay, so what happened, I believe, is that the authorities went to the phone provider and they were asking for the phone records, and then the phone records were gone.
Are you saying that her phone was actually tapped?
So no, right? Because tapping means that you're listening to the phone call, and this is a phone record that's completely missing from the
Or
phone
maybe,
logs.
sorry, wrong choice of word, like meddled with her phone.
So I don't think so. I think I see two outcomes for this, and this is so bizarre. Outcome number one is that she has a different phone,
Oh.
and who knows who she was calling on that phone. Outcome number two is that she's talking on the phone, but she's pretending to be talking on the phone. She's not actually talking to anyone. And outcome number three is that there is a higher authority that
Is involved.
is involved and somehow managed to delete the phone records. And I'm talking about Secret Service. I'm talking about the CIA, because
That's a little too far-fetched though.
regular police force do not have access to delete phone records.
Yeah, this is getting a little too far-fetched for me.
On top of that, why would you delete all of her? Okay.
is she a
Nonetheless.
Swedish spy?
Yeah, if she's a spy, it makes sense to delete all of her stuff, because might as well. I mean, you know.
Come on, it's Scotland and Sweden. It's not as if it's like, I don't know, Russia. Like, no, I'm trying to say, like, there's no way she's a spy. She was a spy.
So, hear me out.
Okay.
Either Annie had a second phone or the records were destroyed. But this would require top-level government intervention. Annie's Hotmail account also did not have any emails. It's not known if Annie deleted them by herself or maybe another party deleted those emails. Journalist Rob Mulhern revealed a theory about the possible link between Annie and an American investigative journalist renowned for researching U.S. intelligence agencies, Annie Borjesson. And Prestwick Airport was used by the Americans at the time to refuel planes that were taking prisoners from the Middle East to Guantanamo Bay in Cuba. And Annie has the same surname as the American journalist Annie Borjesson, who was trying to expose the CIA, because Guantanamo Bay is a controversial topic, especially in America. And basically, Annie Borjesson, she was trying to expose the CIA and uncover their logistical setup. And the question here is whether or not the CIA have been trying to silence Christina, but by accident they had murdered a different person with the same last surname, Annie Borjesson. And when this theory was progressed, let's put it that way, by Annie's friends back in Sweden, specifically Maria, a friend of Annie's, Maria started reporting silent phone calls. She would get a phone call and no one would be talking. And she also had some sort of email problems, which I don't know exactly what that means. And that would be the CIA theory, that it was a mistaken identity and somehow Annie was at the wrong place at the wrong time. What do you think about it? I mean, you probably, if you're hearing this for the first time, you probably have to like take a step back.
Yeah, I have to digest this information a little bit. Wow. That's all I'm gonna say. Wow, wait. I still need a few minutes to process this.
Yeah, so basically, Americans are transporting prisoners from the Middle East to Guantanamo Bay. You know Guantanamo Bay. It's like a prison, I think, ran by the American government, but it's ran in Cuba. So since it's not in the American soil, they can skip certain checks and like treat the prisoners in ways that they couldn't treat them on American soil. So it's controversial, and so they were trying to refuel planes in Prestwick, Scotland, as they were sending the prisoners to Guantanamo Bay from Middle East, because they had to refuel the planes at some point. And I think this Christina Borjesson, she was trying to expose this and, I don't know, potentially rile up the Scottish maybe public that would not want to support their assistance for the Americans in this predicament. So in order to silence this research, the CIA would want to murder Christina Borjesson, but by accident, they murdered a completely unrelated Annie Borjesson.
Well, that's very incompetent from their end. If that was the case.
That was the first thing I was thinking about. Like, if they're so good at tapping and cleaning, why are they tapping and cleaning Annie's stuff?
Yeah,
like,
that's
they know
true.
if Annie had nothing to do with any of it, why are they going?
Why did they have to clean out the phone, the email, and then they didn't realize?
And then
Or maybe they realized a bit too late.
and then kill this person. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, honestly, I would just think that that's impossible.
It feels a little too far-fetched, but if, for example, let's consider it. Yeah, let's try to entertain this line of thinking. Maybe they did it after. Maybe they realized they got the wrong person and, let's just wipe everything out. But then why? She probably just had regular emails and regular text messages from her family.
I would just assume that this is impossible, to like have this blunder by the CIA.
True.
I would just assume that this is impossible to do, because the real Christina Borjesson, I think she's dead now. She passed away, but she lived for like many years after. So I would assume that this is impossible. But
That you would get to live long after.
No, I assume it's impossible to have a mistaken identity by the CIA. I just don't.
And then the actual person gets to live.
Yeah, that, and also like how they would clean the stuff up from a completely unrelated innocent woman who had nothing, who hadn't done anything against the American government, and there's no reason to tamper with her life. I just would say it's impossible unless, I mean, if it is, then I would be very shocked that that is the real outcome, and this is how we explain Annie's death. I would be very shocked. And now let's jump into some additional interesting details that I found on the case, okay? So some of the interesting stuff is that Annie had not found another job at the time of her death. And one of Annie's flatmates said that Annie was depressed, that she had not found a job, and that she was also lonely. Another flatmate said that another flatmate said that flatmate themselves, they had to move out from the apartment because Annie was too intense, whatever that means, and pushy. And then another flatmate said that Annie told her that she had made a life-changing decision just 3 days before she died, but I guess she never specified what that decision is. So we have flatmates saying that she was depressed and lonely, that
Is it because
she couldn't find a job.
she couldn't find a job? Because I read an article about this saying that her sponsorship ran out and she could no longer work there. I didn't know what it meant by sponsorship.
I think it's just the job contract.
Oh, it
wasn't
doesn't necessarily
visa.
mean like the visa problem.
It wasn't visa.
Because come on, it's still
Both countries were in EU in 2004.
yeah, so it shouldn't be that hard.
Unless I'm really stupid. Both of them were in EU in 2004. And I think that's the case. So both of these countries were in EU, unless I'm very stupid. But no, they definitely were in EU. So there's no visa.
So it wasn't what I was thinking, that she was depressed because she's gonna have to go back and
It's not the case.
okay.
And then there were so she's kind of having frictions with some flatmates, and another flatmate said that Annie told her 3 days before she died that she had made a life-changing decision.
And what is that? It was never disclosed?
No.
Interesting.
And then this is where things get crazy. There was a local man who owned a shop in Edinburgh. And this man said that Annie would usually stop by for a chat and that she would stay for hours. This man described her as unconventional. The shop owner said that he had been at home one night when his door opened and Annie walked into his house without knocking. She just literally opened the door and walked into this man's house. And when the man asked how she knew where he lived, Annie said that she had followed him home.
That's just crazy. I wouldn't believe it. I'm so sorry. It's just too crazy for me.
What do you mean?
This man claimed. Did he have any evidence, proof that this actually happened?
That's a good question. I actually was somehow inclined to believe him.
Really?
I just thought that this was a real thing. Maybe I was already like thinking that Annie's mental state is kind of deteriorating here, but I thought it was a real thing. But now you put up a good question. Did this really happen?
Yeah, did this really happen? Like, are we just supposed to believe a random guy?
Yeah, that's true. Like, does this guy have proof? I would be interested to know. And so now the question is there a chance that Annie, as she walked into the ATM and saw that there was no money that she could take out, did this finally push her over the limit and she committed self-harm? Or was there really someone out there who murdered Annie?
Could you remind me please where the bruises were?
It was never explained. It was just bruising, and I think there was finger marks on her neck. Which is not good because that kind of makes me think strangulation.
Yeah.
So now we have theories. One theory is that Annie drowned by her own accord. It was self-harm. But this is strange because there were items found close to her body. And when you die, I guess, of that type of a death, the likelihood that your stuff and your body would end up in the same place are kind of rare because they would be scattered maybe distance away, I assume. Also, women walking into the sea and taking their life is very rare. And also, how would you even do that? How would you just walk into the sea and just die in the sea? And Annie had her full outfit on. If you're gonna do that, wouldn't you like remove some of your items? And I do think that this is a very good anti-self-harm comments.
True.
What do you think?
I agree with that. I think if it was truly self-harm, it would have been, we would have more indication. You know what I mean? Like, it would have been neatly placed and it would seem more intentional.
Right.
Does that make sense? Because I'm just imagining myself if, for example, I'm just gonna end it there and just walk into the sea and all. I would maybe, and it's cold, and that's it for me. I'm already like very convinced that this is it. I would neatly place my things, or like just put them on one side and just go.
But would you just, and how would you actually do it?
I don't know.
Just walk until what?
Until you drown.
You don't drown just like that.
Hypothermia.
Maybe. I don't know. I just don't understand how you would even.
How cold was it? Wait, which month was it again?
December.
December.
It was probably pretty close, pretty cold for sure.
Definitely. I don't know. I don't see this happening at all.
The second theory that we have is that she was murdered, and that her body was drowned in a different location, and then moved to Prestwick Beach later on. That would explain the diatoms that are found in fresh water, that were found in her bone marrow, because bone marrow contains diatoms after a person drowns. It's like little particles or something that could tell you where the water came from. So the water didn't come from Prestwick Beach. But there was an expert who said that Annie could have simply drank some tap water, and that would explain the diatoms. So I guess that doesn't really make too much sense. But what makes sense is that there was no seawater diatoms in her body. So seawater diatoms not being in her body, maybe that even makes sense that she never drowned?
Are you saying that she was strangled and then her body was thrown into the water?
Or even like to the sand or something? I don't know. And who could have done that? Well, obviously, the first person that comes to mind in this case...
Fake Martin.
Fake Martin Leslie.
Yeah.
The real Martin Leslie never met Annie. And the fake Martin Leslie apparently turned up in the rugby club and then appeared in the pool where Annie was swimming. But this is the strange thing. No one reportedly saw fake Martin Leslie at the rugby club. So if this fake Martin Leslie, if he looks like the real Martin Leslie and he walks around and he's pretending to be the real Martin Leslie, then at the rugby club definitely people would have noticed him. So either this fake Martin Leslie doesn't look like the real Martin Leslie and he somehow magically appears at the same time as Annie is at the rugby club or something, or B, fake Martin Leslie never existed.
Man, you're killing me with these or.
No, but I'm asking you.
At first I was like, maybe it was Annie being a foreigner in another country.
Because she said that she's really into like rugged like guys, like rugby players. So it's like a fantasy.
Yes, and maybe it was real.
She was lonely.
No, maybe it was real. Maybe a guy who actually looked like Martin showed up, kept on showing up.
Yeah, all I'm gonna say,
Stalking her?
it could really be real. Because I don't know what happened. I just want to put it out
I was
there.
convinced it was real until you told me, or she was imagining, like,
Because
oh,
this
yeah.
man was never found. The fake Martin Leslie was never found.
No witness at all.
And I don't think anyone else saw him ever besides Annie. As far as I understand, Annie is the only person who ever reported him.
Damn.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
And the last culprits would be the CIA, which I kind of rule out just because it just seems so crazy to me. So, out of all of these, I'm not gonna lie, after examining the case and taking a look at it, I would be sort of leaning towards that maybe Annie had a mental breakdown leading up to her death. And I would say that maybe the likelihood is that I think she was having a mental breakdown, and then what happened to her on her last days, was it foul play or self-harm? Honestly, the bruising on her body, the marks on her neck, I don't know exactly what happened. Honestly, this is such a big mystery to me. I'm just thinking that at some point Annie was probably not in her right mental state, because I think telling her mom, like, oh, don't call me, tapping on the, because someone's tapping my phones, then she's telling her flatmates that she made a life-changing decision just 3 days ago. Some flatmate had to move out because she was too pushy. She was like depressed because she couldn't get a job and lonely. I don't think that everything was perfect in her life in Edinburgh. Seems like there was a lot of problems. So I do think that there's a huge chance she had a mental breakdown. I don't know how she died though. What do you think?
I may have to contradict you on this one. Usually I would agree with you, but
Yeah.
on this one I think I have a different point of view, I would say. Different assumption. And I guess for me, maybe someone was actually stalking her. It would make sense, at least for me, my personal opinion. She was getting paranoid, I'm assuming, and then her being, let's say, not too nice or not too agreeable with her roommates, maybe it was a sign of distress. She was already scared. And by the pictures that we have in the airport, it really did look like she was just about to go back to Scotland, and then she went outside to the parking lot, came back, and I don't know, that picture is kind of haunting me right now. She did look like she saw something and she's terrified.
Yeah, I could see that, honestly. When you look at the picture, if you have no context, you would say this is a woman kind of like shocked and running back into the airport.
Like kind of freaked out, right?
Yeah.
And also the CCTV footage of her smoking. Maybe she wasn't smoking, but smoking while walking indoors. Maybe she was a chain smoker. I don't know. If she was, then it's probably normal, but if she wasn't, I would also think that it's also a sign of stress. She was stressing out. And lastly, I do not think it was self-harm, mainly because of the bruising and the fingerprint on her neck. It seemed like, at least for me, someone grabbed her neck and maybe pushed her down into the water until she stopped breathing. I don't understand the lack of salt water in her system though, but that's what I'm going for.
Yeah. I also don't know. It's a strange case. I just don't. For me, the hardest thing is thinking who would actually kill her. Prestwick, I even tried to look if there's a serial killer or something like that, or any crimes. And from my understanding online, Prestwick is kind of safe.
Mm-hmm.
It's a safe little location, and there isn't any serial killer that was on a rampage, even in Scotland or anything at this time. As
But
far
maybe
as I
fake
can tell.
Martin was actually a real person who was stalking her.
And
Who
he
just
killed
somehow-
and he killed Annie right before she was about to leave. Why didn't she book the flight if she's scared of him?
I have no idea.
If she's so scared and she has her stuff, why is she even going outside of the airport? Because maybe fake Martin Leslie would be telling her to like come out here, and then at first she was scared, but then later after 6 minutes she was thinking, okay, I'll face my fears, I'll go to this Martin Leslie. But this was a fatal time. But then she was captured walking around, and maybe she was even seen standing alone at the beach. So at this point she had all of the time in the world to go back.
Maybe it wasn't her at the beach.
Maybe it wasn't her at the beach. That's true. Maybe it wasn't her at the beach. That's also true. So I don't know. This is a very bizarre case.
Yeah, and so much possibilities, so much assumptions that we could do, and we really don't know. It's a huge mystery.
Yeah, it's not very straightforward, this case. Thank you for listening to the podcast, and I'm looking forward to some people commenting, because I know some of our listeners, they bring out really interesting suggestions.
Really good points, yeah.
So yeah, I'm kind of curious to see what you guys think, because I already looked online on Reddit, so I kind of already saw the theories floating around, and I'm interested to see what people that are listening to this podcast, what they think. Regardless, we will see you on the next episode.
We'll try to upload more regularly. We're really sorry. It was a very busy week from my end, and I'm the culprit in this one, basically.
Oh, it's all good. No one's blaming you. I mean, everything's all right. And we will see you guys.
Thank you for listening.
Bye.
And see you very soon.
Bye.